Have you ever just stopped and wondered why life is so, I don't know, mildly inconvenient? Like why the banana always bruises in your bag, why one sock inevitably disappears in the wash, or why Tuesday afternoons feel like they literally last an absolute eternity? Well, what if I told you that none of this is actually random? Today, we're conducting a formal explainer of the Universe Administrative Bureau's internal records. Consider this the Cosmic Audit. We're taking a deep dive into some recently discovered memos from the universe itself, where reality finally, formally apologizes for the inconvenience.
Just to get our heads around the sheer scale of this cosmic bureaucracy, think about this number for a second. 847 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. That is the staggering number of formal complaints filed by Earth, or, as the cosmos officially designates us, file planet number 3, in just the fourth quarter alone. It turns out of the entire universe, humanity complains more than anyone else. We complain about the weather we explicitly asked for, the biological bodies we were given, and yes, we even formally complained about the existence of the platypus. The universe is definitely listening to us, but as we'll see today, their ability to actually resolve these tickets leaves a little to be desired.
Okay, let's dive right into the docket for today's Cosmic Performance Review. We're going to cover cosmic customer service, biological blunders, and domestic glitches. From there, we'll tackle time, tech, and traffic before we confront the ultimate grievance, and finally wrap things up with the texture of life.
Section 1, Cosmic Customer Service, straight from the Department of Cosmic Customer Relations.
So, for the last 13.8 billion years, all of our existential grievances have basically been handled by mid-level celestial clerks. Picture them working the night shift at these tiny little desks, answering our billions of complaints with immense patience and, honestly, extreme bureaucratic fatigue. Their exact tone in these memos is perfectly captured by this concept: administrative cosmic regret. It's that very specific flavor of sorry felt by an entity that knows it caused a problem, completely acknowledges the problem, but entirely lacks the authority to fix it. The universe, it turns out, operates exactly like a giant, perpetually underfunded DMV. They are sincerely sorry for the flaws in reality for sure, but a lot of the cosmic budget was spent billions of years ago, and they simply have zero remaining avenues for any sort of structural revision.
Section 2. Biological and botanical blunders, or from bruised bananas to the platypus.
Let's talk about expected versus actual banana integrity. I mean, seriously, why does a banana bruise if you literally just look at it wrong? Well, according to the Cosmic Files, the banana, known internally as Project Crescent, was actually a victim of massive Pleistocene-era budget cuts. The funding for fruit skin reinforcement was completely drained by competing projects. The avocado lobby took a huge chunk of the budget just for its massive, practically useless pit. Meanwhile, coconuts secured maximum grade armor because they needed to survive falling from tropical trees. By the time they finally got to the banana, the potassium shielding budget was just gone. They expected us to be careful with them. Obviously, they were very wrong.
And then, of course, there's the platypus. Humanity has filed numerous complaints about this animal, essentially demanding to know what the universe was thinking. A clerk named Gemrs explains in the memos that the platypus was actually just an end-of-sprint design exercise. Someone apparently asked, hey, what if we used everything left in the parts bin? A duckbill, beaver feet, venom, laying eggs. It was literally meant as a joke, but it accidentally went into full production. And yet the universe stands firmly by its bizarre existence, noting that the platypus is actually quite comfortable being a platypus.
Moving right along to Section 3, Domestic Dimensions and Glitches. Let's check in with the Department of Laundry Entropy and Minor Anomalies.
Now, have you ever wondered where your missing socks actually go? Welcome to the left sock afterlife. They aren't actually lost. They're transported to a low-probability dimensional manifold that is accessible only through the spin cycle of an automatic washing machine. Now, why on earth would they do this? It's called the sock partition protocol. You see, the universe realized humans were forming dangerous attachments to perfect, matching pairs of things. So they instituted this system to teach us manageable loss. Losing a sock teaches us about impermanence without causing actual devastating grief. That single surviving sock left in your drawer, it's a small, poignant monument to letting go.
And you know, this whole philosophy extends right into your kitchen. Take the infamous junk drawer. 60% unmatched Tupperware lids, 30% mystery keys, and 10% completely dead batteries. Why do the lids and containers always separate? The Cosmic Clerks explain that this Tupperware lid discrepancy is a highly intentional domestic installation. That one mystery lid that fits absolutely nothing but you refuse to throw away? Yeah, the universe put that there on purpose. It's a small daily exercise in hope, a sort of secular faith object that keeps you believing that eventually things will match up and belong together.
Which brings us to Section 4, Time, Tech, and Traffic. Let's unpack space-time maintenance and digital frustrations.
Let's compare the actual flow of time with your subjective experience on a Tuesday afternoon. Do you ever feel like Tuesdays between, say, 2 and 4:30 p.m. just drag on for an absolute eternity? Well, it's not in your head. Earth's local reality rendering engine operates on a very strict resource budget. By Tuesday afternoon, the system actually throttles back our conscious processing speed to run massive background maintenance on things like atmospheric rendering and cellular biology. Time isn't literally slowing down, but your experience of it is running at just 60%. The universe is literally running a mandatory system update during your workday, and you are feeling the lag.
Speaking of system updates, we have to talk about the absolute nightmare that is password requirements. You know the drill. Minimum 12 characters, at least one uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, it cannot be a dictionary word, and you absolutely cannot write it down. The Security and Existential Frustration Bureau explains that these maddening rules are an ongoing punishment for a primordial chaos entity named Kevin. Kevin ruined the early, trusting days of simple passwords for everyone. The security committee totally overreacted, and now you and I are forever suffering for Kevin's sins.
And oh man, then there's the buffering circle. The universe actually notes that the buffering circle is a small, spinning monument to the gap between what you want and what is currently available. Which is brutal but true. The cruel irony of a video buffering right at the absolute climax of a story isn't actually malicious. Climactic scenes have rapid editing and loud orchestral scores, which simply demand way more data, crashing the transfer rate. So the buffering circle is a pure data issue. It completely lacks any emotional intelligence. It doesn't care about your show at all, it only cares about megabits per second.
Section 5 takes a slightly deeper turn, the ultimate grievance. Mortality and the 3 a.m. spiral.
Did you know that 3:17 a.m. is officially the peak hour for sudden existential clarity and, well, absolute dread? The night shift division explains that at this exact hour, your background cognitive noise drops to its absolute lowest point. Without all the noisy distractions of the day, your brain finally processes all those long-queued analytical threads. That dropped cognitive noise allows our deepest fears, our unresolved thoughts, and suddenly brilliant insights to finally surface all at once. Unfortunately, this clarity arrives in the dark when your defenses are lowest, resulting in that dreaded 3 a.m. spiral. And you know, that late-night spiral usually leads straight to humanity's biggest, heaviest complaint of all, mortality. The question of, what about the you of you? The Office of Transitions and Recyclables addresses this as the planned obsolescence of the human chassis. We all know we are temporary, and we have to live with the agonizing awareness of our own expiration date. But the universe admits they gave us this awareness not out of cruelty, but because creatures without it live completely reflexively. They live without a horizon.
As the memo states something really profound here, the urgency is not the punishment. The urgency is the point. Just think about that. The knowledge that your time is limited is exactly what makes your time yours. That temporary nature is the very thing that gives our choices, our loves, and our time their actual meaning. Because if you had forever, you would never act. The urgency is what makes you stay for one more hour, make the call, and actually notice the light.
And that beautifully sets up our final chapter, Section 6, the texture of life, the final transmission from the universe.
So the crucial point is that the universe realizes all this friction, showing up, noticing things, minding when they go wrong, and actually caring enough to want better. It's simply the byproduct of a life actually lived. If we didn't care about the bruised banana, or the lost sock, or the slow Tuesday afternoon, it would mean we weren't truly engaged with the world around us. Caring about the inconveniences means you are truly, authentically present. The final message from the Cosmic Clerks is simply this. We are glad that you are here to be inconvenienced. All these minor tragedies, domestic glitches, and bureaucratic messes, they are all just part of the wonderful privilege of existing. The universe finds it absolutely remarkable that in this vast, ancient, freezing cosmos, there are small, warm, lit rooms where people care deeply about the little things.
So, knowing that the universe is actually listening and understanding that every minor annoyance is just a side effect of the incredible privilege of being alive, what's your next cosmic complaint going to be?
Next time you drop your toast, butter side down, or get stuck in awful traffic, just remember, your complaint is received, it is held, and the universe is ultimately really glad you're here to make it. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I hope you leave with a slightly warmer view of our beautifully bureaucratic reality.